Hello and welcome to the Two Dudes Movie Podcast. This week we'll be discussing Raya the Last Dragon and why you should not be sleeping on this movie. We'll also be discussing Disney Plus, Premier Access, and Black Widow. See you after the jump. So, Raya and the Last Dragon will be debuting on Disney Plus and in theaters on March 5th. But it will not be debuting on Disney Plus for free for all users. It will be debuting on the somewhat controversial Premier Access feature.
You say controversial, and I feel like in many ways it's only controversial at the moment because it's almost not made it worth it kind of thing.
I think it's controversial because people like things for free and it's not giving you something for free because there's absolutely nothing controversial.
No one bats an eyelid, do they?
Yes, so we're going to talk in this episode a bit about Disney Plus in general, a bit about Premier Access, and then later on we're going to get into Raya and the Last Dragon. And when we're talking about Premier Access, I want to touch a bit on Black Widow and we will go into that more. But for those of you that don't know, Disney Plus is now a global service, not available everywhere, but in a huge amount of territories, which is available for £5.99 a month in British, and is about to go up this month to $7.99.
Oh no!
In fact, when this comes out, it will have just gone up. The reason it's about to go up is because it is about to introduce a whole new vertical of content, including lots of Fox and Hulu content, and specifically allowing an option to add basically anything over a 12, I think, so any 15 and 18 movies that I don't believe are currently on Disney Plus are going to be added in this. What that means is, so content from Hulu, content from Fox, the TV channel, and some more 20th Century Fox movies like Die Hard are all making their way onto Disney Plus. But also you're going to have the expansion of verticals like Marvel. So, for example, movies like Logan and Deadpool 2 will all be debuting on the platform on February 23rd. Disney Plus as a whole, for those of you who don't know, includes content from Disney, Pixar, National Geographic, Marvel, and Star Wars, as well as a selection of movies they acquired from Fox. So things like, what's it called? I can't remember what the studio's called. But they did, is it Blue Sky? They did Ice Age.
Oh yeah, Blue Sky, who have just been shut down.
Yes, and then you have movies like Night at the Museum and Mrs. Doubtfire and a couple of others that have basically been brought over in the merger, but were family friendly and so could be stuck straight on. Yeah. Premier Access is a different layer to the service that has only been used once so far, which is where a movie costs £19.99 or $29.99 USD, and you unlock that movie on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
The similarity doesn't really exist. There is no other major streaming service platform that charges you in this way. The comparison, as best as you just used, would be something like iTunes or Amazon, where you pay for that movie and you buy it and you have a digital copy of that movie. Yeah. Although there are a few differences to that, which we'll get to later. So, have you got Disney Plus?
Yes, I do. And I watch it quite regularly.
Because we talk about WandaVision, and WandaVision is on Disney Plus. So,
yes, I don't pirate that.
For a very vague touch on streaming services and what they mean at the moment is they are currently the major vertical of money that is streaming into major studios, Warner Brothers, and Disney, as all theaters are shut down, and they have been having to make some hard choices on whether to hold theatrical releases or release them exclusive to Disney Plus, or, as a lot have now settled on doing, simultaneously on streaming and in theatres.
And I'd kind of put it to you as well, because obviously it's because of the current situation, it's moving towards, obviously movies are becoming more prevalent in terms of premiering online and on streaming services and stuff. But in terms of like TV, I'll put it this way to you: so I'm doing a master's at the moment in screenwriting, and whenever I'm writing anything, my mentor and my lecturers are telling me that you're kind of most of the time when you're writing now, you're writing for streaming services if you're writing in TV.
Yes.
Because the way, I remember when I was actually, a couple of years back in 2017, I remember discussing with someone who'd recently been working with HBO. He was saying that TV is moving, because of the amount of money you can put into it with these streaming services, is moving now more and more onto the streaming services and stuff. They're becoming what Sky was and what, Virgin was, or I think Blue Yonder back in the 90s sort of thing. They're becoming what they started off as the big, this is where everyone gets their content from now.
I think fantastic examples of that being that Disney has just launched and announced a slew of Disney properties, but also specifically Marvel and Star Wars verticals set within their universes properly, coming to Disney Plus in the next couple of years. But also you have services like HBO Max in the US, which HBO, famous for Game of Thrones, amongst other series, is now launching several shows onto HBO Max. Although that is a much more complicated situation because of HBO being a premium TV channel, but without getting into that.
But the point is that it seems to be going in this direction of the more people sign up, and I think this is something we'll lead on to a bit later, but the more these streaming services gain traction in TV, the more things move there, the more it starts gaining traction in movies, we might see the same level of transference.
Yes. So far, the main way of releasing content on streaming services, you wait a while after your movie comes out in theaters. So it comes out in theaters, you release it on premium video on demand, which is iTunes, Amazon, Google Play Store, and then on physical, and then later, maybe a month or so after that, you then also release it for free for all users on your streaming service. Netflix, of course, doesn't have this model because all its things go to Netflix first. And in TV series, Netflix has a slightly different model as well compared to Disney Plus. So Netflix is a huge fan of a binge. They drop a whole series and you can watch it from day one, all of it. Disney Plus has taken a different approach of a weekly release schedule where, just like on mainstream TV, you can tune in every Friday and catch the latest episode of whichever show is hot at the minute. We will see how long this carries on for. I'm very curious because they've currently only had the major series being The Mandalorian and WandaVision. And I wonder...
Clone Wars also did the same thing.
And Clone Wars. I just mean, but major event series have, to be fair, been Mandalorian and WandaVision. I'm curious when they have more content as they're supposed to do down the line. Will they debut episodes on different days of the week? Will they binge some series and make you wait weekly for others? And it will be interesting to see. Premier Access is a different path which only exists because of the current global pandemic and the situation where in major markets across the world, theatres are closed. Disney has to make a hard choice. We hold off on these movies, as they have done with movies such as Black Widow and Cruella. Or we release these movies, and Eternals, or we release these movies on Disney Plus for free, as they did with Soul, or for a paid price, as they did with Mulan. Raya is their next venture into paid access. And so we're just going to talk a bit about what we think and feel about that paid access, and is it specifically worth it? And how long we think it'll last.
Now, I personally am a massive fan of the movie-going experience. As a writer, I want to write movies that come out in theatres, because that's the thing. In many ways, yes, you're paying quite an inflated price. Me personally, I go to Everyman, which we have here, which is a lot more expensive than the likes of Odeon or wherever. Probably the cheapest place that you have is maybe View. But because it's more expensive, you pay for the experience of what it means to go to that theatre. And it's the same with View, it's the same with Odeon. Remember, we went to the Endgame midnight screening and you got posters for it, sort of thing. There's an experience that goes with sitting in front of a big screen, and that's what you pay the extra money for. And I think this is probably what a lot of people have been having issues with the Premier Access thing, is that 19 quid is a lot of money for someone like us. Okay, I think the reason why they're doing it is because if you've got a family of four, £19 for a cinema trip is extremely cheap. But for the likes of me and you, if we paid 19 quid to go to the cinema, we'd be paying for the entire experience plus probably popcorn and stuff.
So,
I think that feels a bit more expensive.
You've said there about who it's aimed for. Disney Plus and Disney as a whole is a family-driven company. All their experiences, from their theme parks to their merchandise, is driven around family. And I think Premier Access is no different. I think you are entirely correct that the $19.99 figure is a good price for a family of four, but it becomes, as you take people off that, less and less of a good idea. I think it's fair to say, though, in my opinion at least, that two people going to the cinema, around £10 a ticket isn't ridiculous.
No.
And therefore, that's the sort of price you're paying for a Premier Access screening on Disney Plus. The other thing I'd quickly add is that you do have then unlimited access to this movie. It isn't an isolated experience. You could, especially, again, going back to the kids thing, they really like it. You can pop it on again for the next weekend. Again. You go. Go on.
Because what I was going to say there is exactly, you get to watch it over and over again. I think it all depends on the type of movie that is released. And I think this is probably where a lot of people come into and chime in, especially people like us who obviously, we are kind of waiting for the likes of Black Widow. We're wondering whether it's going to come to Premier Access. Obviously, I would pay 19 quid for Black Widow.
Yes.
I was never going to pay for Mulan in the first place, but I think £19 for that is more expensive. But I think this is, again, that's exactly how movies work, though. Like, this is always the decision of, okay, do I want to pay to go see this in the cinema, or would I rather wait for it to come out and watch on Sky or something like that? And it's, again, preferential treatment. And I suppose you say to yourself, well, this isn't supposed to be for everyone, so maybe the £19 is not a bad decision, because if you're paying that, you think it's worth it, just like you would in the cinema.
The case study we have so far is a little movie called Mulan, which is a remake of the Disney Princess classic, and was a very what ended up being a very controversial first attempt. Initially, it sounds like a great idea. It's the next tentpole Disney movie. This will test if it works or not. The problem being is the movie was met with very mixed reviews. There was serious controversy in relation to the Chinese government and certain big political issues that are happening in China, and Disney being seen to support those things, or at the very least turning a blind eye to them. It has serious issues with not being fully representative of Chinese culture. And the movie itself basically turned out to be a bit of a misstep. Not a bomb. I wouldn't say it's an awful thing, the whole circumstance, but I think it was a misstep. And I think the problem with this is this was not a successful Premier Access for Disney. And we know this because they have not released any figures or anything to show it as successful. And if it was, they would have said, well, look how many subscribers we got off it. Look how many people paid for it. And I think Raya is another attempt to see what will this work? Is this a business model that can be sustained?
But I wonder whether for certain people Mulan has put like a sour taste in their mouth when it comes to Premier Access.
Possibly.
Because I feel like the announcement of Mulan coincided with the announcement that Disney were going to try this paid, way of doing it. And then because of what happened with Mulan, people are now sort of go, well, why should we pay for anything that they bring out? Because especially, and I think this is almost maybe even a mistake from Disney's point of view, is they then brought it out for free 3 months later.
So this is the next stage of Premier Access, which is, as far as we're aware, the exact same pattern that will happen with Raya, which is it is released exclusively on Disney Plus and in theatres. 3 months following the date it is released for free, released for Premier Access. it is then released for free on Disney Plus. I think the biggest mistake Disney Plus made in the whole Mulan thing is that they announced the date of which Mulan would become free before the release of it on Premier Access. Yeah.
So people were just like, well,
I knew if I wanted to watch Mulan, I could either watch it in what I believe was October. No, it wasn't October. It must have been September. Or I could wait till December and get it for free.
Yeah.
So I waited, and I actually still haven't watched it because of all the controversy around it.
But I think exactly that. If you weren't keen on a movie, so to put it this way, me and my girlfriend went and saw Emma and Sonic on the same day. When we were allowed to go to the cinemas, this was last year. I think it was almost a year ago, a couple of days ago, to be honest.
Would have been because Sonic was Valentine's Day, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it. It was the day before Valentine's. It was the 13th. But yes, so we went and watched them because of the fact that we were like, oh, well, this is a nice day out. We'll go and do it, and we'll watch this. And because we might not be able to watch this for a while, because that's the thing with when things come out in cinemas, is it takes a good while for them to be able to become available for anyone who's not wanting to go to a cinema and watch it. That's the reason why you go to the cinemas, is to get the access to this. Now, I think with Mulan and maybe with Raya, is that if I go, I'm not keen on watching this, I've not got the day out that I'd get normally, I might as well just wait.
The typical waiting window after a movie releases in cinemas, I believe, is around 3 months before it's released onto premium video on demand or physical, which is actually even slightly after that. So you're still having to pay to buy or rent the movie, and then you can buy it physically, and then even later after that is when they're released for free on streaming services now, obviously straight to HBO, straight to Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I think it is... Mulan was undoubtedly a failed test, and I think Disney wants to know, given that there's potentially a whole nother year without theatres, they need to know if this can work, or if they might be stuck following the same model as Soul, which was a free release, but significantly increased their subscribers.
Yeah, because
they've seen incredible growth.
Yeah, and I'd say Soul was a success.
Last year.
Because Soul was a genuinely good movie. Now, this is the thing. I think the two that we can almost compare them to, Soul and Raya, I feel they are big movies, and they are certainly movies that would have made a fair bit of money in the cinemas. But I don't know, I just almost feel maybe tainted, I suppose, by how much other Disney movies and big properties like Marvel and stuff, how they advertise things. I feel like the advertisement wasn't there, which was meant that a lot of people have almost missed it. So I heard of Soul because of word of mouth. Actually, it was you that mentioned Soul to me, and I hadn't heard it before that moment. Yeah. And so, because of that, I feel like it's not ever going to be anywhere near as good or as much of a growth and profit as they ever would have had before, because the word's not out there as much.
I think it is a difficult thing. Again, movie theatres have never had to deal with this level... Movie companies, have never had to deal with this level of... I can't even think of a word, but disruption to their usual cycle. And I think the streaming services, being as up-and-coming as they were, was the lifeline they needed to get. And I think genuinely you would have seen potentially multiple major movie studios going out of business if MGM. It had not been for streaming services basically propping up. And yes, Disney has a lot of other things like theme parks and merchandise, but even then, theme parks are also closed. And Disney Plus is the main stream of money that Disney currently has coming in. So, that said, if you want to see something like Cruella, or what most people are hoping to see being Black Widow, come to Disney Plus, the thing that you need to do, the thing that everyone who wants to see those things happen needs to do, is to pay for Raya. If you want them to release Black Widow and Disney Plus Premier Access, or even for free. The only way that will happen is if Raya makes some money. And if Raya is unsuccessful, they will push it and push it and push it, because Black Widow has the potential to be a $1 billion movie.
Yeah, and it still, I think, has a potential to be that big of a release online. Like, £19 is more than I'd normally pay to go watch that movie. And so, and Disney are getting all the money for it. Now, Here's the thing as well. Raya is more important than Mulan was, because Mulan was, as you say, marred by political controversy. So they had almost said to themselves, even if it is successful, we don't know if it's a
true litmus test.
Yeah, exactly, a true litmus test. It might be an anomaly on a graph in terms of science experiments and stuff like that. Whereas Raya it's a film that I didn't know much about. I've seen the trailer for it, and we'll get into it a bit later. It looks really good. But it's a relative unknown in terms of, will this be successful?
Yes.
So if it is, they'll go, okay, we know that Black Widow is something people want to watch. If this is successful, Black Widow certainly will be.
Black Widow. The other comparison that is a bit awkward to make, but it needs to be made, is HBO Max, which is Warner Brothers, have taken an entirely different approach, exampled with Wonder Woman 1984 in December, which was, rather than release movies on HBO Max for an extra fee, they released them for free and in theaters.
Yeah.
The movies on HBO Max were only on HBO Max for 30 days, and we will see another example of this being Godzilla vs. Kong at the end of March. But other than that 30-day release, they follow the normal release schedule, going to premium video on demand, and then eventually they will return to HBO Max at a later date. I think the big question is what Disney is willing to do to survive and increase their subscription numbers.
Yeah.
If Raya is successful on Premier Access, they will continue to use Premier Access as a way of people accessing movies. And I think any Marvel fan who isn't already subscribed, if you give them Black Widow for a paid fee, would subscribe, because then at that point you would have Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, and you'd have to pay a bit extra for access to Black Widow. I think the question is, if it's unsuccessful, will they give up completely and just hold all movies, or will they release movies for free on the service with subscription cost?
Well, here's the thing, and I think there's a couple of things to think about with Disney Plus, really. The fact that they've reached their 4-year milestone within a year. So they've reached 65 million subscribers within a year, which is a goal they set themselves for 4 years. That's going to be giving them a massive amount of confidence that may make them to actually turn around and go, do we need to worry about how many more people subscribe at this moment in time? Like, they will always be wanting growth, of course they will, but
the thing with subscription services, and the thing that makes them different than any movie ticket or anything, is it's not just about
how many people, it's how many continued.
Yes, it's not just about the number you have on any particular day. It's the fact that, okay, well, they all subscribed to watch Soul, but then after a week, they all stopped. They'll resubscribe when WandaVision comes out, but they'll unsubscribe after WandaVision finishes, and then resubscribe once Falcon and the Winter Soldier's finished, or something like that. It's I believe the term is riding your subscription.
Yeah.
When you basically only join once every few months when there's something you want to watch and then leave. Which
is what they said about Mandalorian. So when Mandalorian came out and then obviously subsequently finished, there wasn't really anything new coming for another year until Mandalorian came out. Obviously, since Mandalorian, the second season's come out, you've then had WandaVision, which has kept a lot of people on. You can
and then you're straight into a Marvel.
And now this is why I feel they've brought out all these new series. It's because they're going, we need to keep people engaged by giving them the new stuff.
Yeah.
And that's
weekly
why they're weekly
to mean you have to come back every week to stay up to date. And as we've seen with WandaVision all over Twitter, if you miss one episode, you get spoilers and you're way behind the curve. You can't afford to wait.
It's like having
just
a new
like
Marvel
a movie
every
release.
week.
Yeah, exactly. So it will be interesting to see what happens with Raya and Premier Access. I know that I'm going to be purchasing it, and there's a reason why. One more thing to make note of in terms of Premier Access is that it's not just your user who gets access, it's every user attached to your account. So anyone who has given access, who you have given access to your account to, who you share your subscription with, also gets it for the included in that fee. So yeah, maybe you're watching it on your own, but if you give it to any of your friends who watch it, you could split the price that way and you all get the access. Or again, if you're in a couple or a small family or anything, or you live with housemates, that money really diminishes quite quickly from 20 down to 5 down to
not
whatever.
Enough. It's not a massive amount. Obviously, it's different if you're in America and listening somewhere else, because obviously the prices do differ from different places.
It's 30 USD in America, which is, again, I think proportional to ticket prices. I think the biggest thing is because we're in a pandemic, people don't necessarily have that money to spare. And I think that is something to be considered. And I think, not that I'd consider it generous, it was a way of getting people to subscribe to Disney Plus. But a lot of people have subbed to subscription services, even if they don't have mass amounts of money, because they need something to do. And I think Disney giving free content in the way they have is a thing that, again, boosts people's faith in them, if you will, of like, this isn't just money grabbing. There is no way on earth that Black Widow will be released for free. I think your best bet would be Cruella, which has just received a trailer, which is interesting.
As recording.
Yes, which is interesting, meaning they must be considering it significantly for a Disney Plus release, because why would you launch a trailer if you don't think... Because theatres aren't going to be open
because we haven't had another trailer for Black Widow. We've certainly not had a trailer for Eternals, which is obviously supposed to come out last November.
Shang-Chi's supposed to come out in July. We haven't seen anything
from that
movie.
Whereas this is May, so you just kind of wonder, okay, how are you planning on releasing this? There obviously, you have to remain positive. The idea of, yes, some theatres may be open in May, hopefully, who knows. Whether the populace would even be able to go to those, or what numbers they'll be like, that's a completely different question. But, I completely agree. I think there's no way that, with the money that they've spent on Black Widow, with how anticipated this movie is, and as much as people may be worried that, the amount of time we've sat in COVID waiting for this movie, is it going to, still make the money? Yeah, of course it will. Don't be stupid. Yep. People want to see it. Look, you saw how excited people got, and I get seeing the opening titles for a Marvel property for the first time on WandaVision. Like, that feeling makes me go, I've missed Marvel, and which is ironic. Seems we're all saying that, when Endgame came out, is it a bit too many Marvel movies a year? The people are going to go watch this in theatres. They won't risk losing that money.
The one fear that exists, and I think it is a valid fear, is once Black Widow eventually releases, where it be Disney Plus, where it be theatres, however it eventually makes its way to us, you've waited what will likely be over a year, at least a year at that point. In fact, at least a year. Can I just wait another 3 months? Can I wait another 6 months? And I think because Black Widow is not an Avengers movie, the answer is very possibly yes.
Because it's set in the past and we don't know if anything will actually impact the world.
I think we know things will. It's definitely likely that some things, especially tying to Falcon and the Winter Soldier or potentially Hawkeye, will be tied in. But I think it's how much people care about those spoilers, or they just take them as a hit and just be like, fine, because they don't want to pay that money. It'll be interesting to see. But the focus of this discussion is moving now swiftly over to Raya and the Last Dragon, and why this is a movie you should be watching. The trailer looks incredible.
It genuinely does. Now, I'm not a massive Disney person. I think before, I'd say 2016, I hadn't seen a lot of Disney movies, especially not the recent ones. I think, I skipped over Frozen's, I skipped over Princess and the Frog, I think then I saw Moana. And that's when my interest came back into Disney. And I went, okay, that was really good. This movie, I literally saw the trailer a couple of minutes before starting recording this. Visually, it looks incredible.
Yeah.
But it also grips me story-wise. Like, I'm watching that trailer going, I want to know what's going on here. I like the era it's in. Obviously, I'm massively interested in too, just because of the fact that I love Asian culture. My girlfriend is Asian, and she's taught me so much about it. And like, I want to learn as much as possible. And so any piece of that I can get is really interesting to me. But it's also a very underrepresented culture in Disney. So I'm really looking forward to how they handle it.
I think one of the things, while you've brought that up, I will touch on is that this hopefully won't be as problematic for the movie, and hopefully it has been created more considerately than Mulan seemingly was. But an unfortunate thing that's already been pointed out is, despite the fact the movie is set in Southeast Asia, that the majority of the cast, aside from a small handful, Kelly Marie Tran included, are not Southeast Asian, and they're from different regions within Asia. And it is a concern that things have been, I can't think of a word, but I guess the idea being Asian washed, and that all Asian countries are being considered to be the same.
But at the same time, it's still a very big positive that we're getting a movie like Mulan. As much as obviously it was problematic, it was still a positive that we had a cast that was entirely
Asian. Yeah. I think it will be interesting to see
as well, which means it's not entirely Asian. But
Alan Tudyk's playing a creature.
I know, and he's brilliant, and I can't wait to see how he does that creature.
The thing I would point out though was, I think this was all pointed out before we saw any of the this specific most recent trailer, which point to highlight at the different clans, seemingly the different groups that people seem to have come from, and thus potentially that is something to do with it. It is that Kelly Marie Tran and Raya, they are from a specific Southeast Asian clan, whereas other regions of Asia are represented by various clans. Anyway, the one thing I hate about this trailer is the dragon. I don't care. Don't care about the dragon. I'm so interested in the warfare between the different groups. The fight scenes look incredible. The con baby.
Awesome. Yeah.
I want a con baby. I want a tuk-tuk that I can ride.
Yeah.
And then there's this dragon, and I'm like, this isn't funny, and I don't care. I think that is because I'm an adult. Believe it or not.
I think
this movie isn't. This is. We forget a child's movie.
Yeah, because I'm a bit more immature than you.
I
find Fila's dragon, even just in this trailer, hilarious.
Can I put that on a T-shirt that I'm a mature one? I just don't care. I think Awkwafina is great. I've seen Crazy Rich Asians. I think she's great. She seems wonderful. She seems like a lovely human being. Also, I just don't care about the dragon. I don't know if I mentioned that. The dragon just seems to be getting in my way, getting in a damn cool action movie way.
The dragon, I feel like, from looking at the trailer, will be, in many ways, what actually the protagonist usually is in Disney movies, is the out-of-depth character who doesn't really have the skills to be there, but eventually overcomes all this and gets.
So you're aware, the dragon is the funny animal sidekick. That's the trope that follows.
No, but the thing is,
God, get on my Disney level.
No, but if you watch most of the Disney movies, such as Moana being an example, she learns, her arc is to learn how to be the hero by the end of it. Whereas I find in this one,
she is the hero for the whole movie. She's cool.
No, but yes, but she, okay. My point is that usual hero's journey of becoming the hero through the arc, by going from someone who wasn't prepared to someone who is usually the hero, the protagonist. Whereas
not what the dragon will do.
Raya, no, it is. It will be, because that's
the dragon's irrelevant. You're going to be real disappointed. The dragon is going to do nothing useful. I reckon
that dragon will eventually become a proper dragon, as she says.
Okay,
but whereas Raya looks like a badass throughout this entire thing.
Because she is, but so is Moana. Don't come near Moana. That's my girl.
Moana still learns how to be.
Moana's incredible. She's an amazing human being from birth.
But
she's messing with that water as a child. Like, yeah, I know your secret. We're pals now. Okay, here's the bet. My bet. We're going back to bets. We're doing bets again.
Okay.
Apparently, bringing them back. My bet is that the dragon will do absolutely nothing and will change in no way, still be useless, still be annoying, still be cracking vaguely funny jokes, but just aren't particularly funny. Okay, the digestion line was kind of funny, but also like it was funny for a 6-year-old, which is I'm sure why you found it hilarious.
I was going to say,
got
I
him,
giggled at that. It was quite good.
absolutely got him. But so my bet is that it would mean nothing.
Whereas my bet will be the fact that this dragon will go from that useless animal sidekick, as you like to call it, to the being that saves the day.
No, see, I can already tell you the plot is they think they need this dragon, but they don't. I can already see it happening. I can see that unfolding on screen.
Raya will bring the best out of the dragon, I bet you.
If you win, I will get you a Last Dragon plush, so you can cuddle that at night. That's what you win. That's what you win in the bet. If I win, I don't have one. Because I don't want one. So no, my victory...
If you win, I get you one. No, that should be it. If I win, you get one.
But I don't want one.
Well, exactly. So
what do I get if I win?
Well, if you win, you don't get one.
Yay!
But if I win, you're getting one.
Do I have to take a picture with it?
Yeah, every night.
Okay. Every night I take a picture. Okay.
We're going to upload it to the social media.
Okay, we'll see how that goes. But I do think this movie does look so good.
It does.
Just the visuals are absolutely incredible. The way Raya is as a character, I hope this is the redemption of Kelly Marie Tran from the hateful trolls that rid her of my beautiful character that was pretty crappy character, but maybe had chance to be a good character. But she seemed fine.
Yeah, she was not the worst part of that movie whatsoever.
She wasn't a good part of the movie, but she didn't do anything wrong, and I hate that everyone hates on her for absolutely no reason. She's just a person, a human being who read lines off paper.
Guess what?
Leave
she
her
didn't
alone.
decide that that's what the character was going to be like.
Yeah, also, she's great, and the fact that they wrote her out of Rise of Skywalker is an absolute travesty.
Yeah, but they wrote practically every interesting character out of that movie, but still.
True, but also, she's got a Disney princess now, so she's immortalised in Disney, and hopefully this movie is good. So it's a good immortalisation.
No, I do think it's going to be really good. I think it's interesting to obviously note that, yes, we're two, British guys who don't come from that culture, and I'd be interested to find out what people who are from the culture think of it and think of the way that the culture's presented.
I really want to know.
For me, there's nothing that's offensive in there, but I've only seen a little bit, and as I said, I don't know everything. This
goes for any movie. I just want to know if things are accurately represented.
Yeah.
So if you're from a culture or anything that is being represented in a movie and you think it's badly represented, tell me so I don't make a fool of myself. How great! This is so great.
Yeah.
Actually, I probably just wouldn't. I'd just be like, I don't know.
But this is
Ask
the thing.
someone who knows.
Like, if I was just watching Mulan on my own, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Because I've never been to China, first of all, but I don't know the culture inside and out.
But I'll tell you what,
there are things
the
that
internet
seem vaguely stereotypical in there that maybe I go, well, is that actually the culture or not? Until we get told these things, we don't know.
The internet told us.
Yes,
the internet told the world that it was not
quickly.
accurate, and it was wrong.
Yeah.
But hopefully, hopefully it has had more care put behind it. That would be very nice to see. I think one other thing that interests me of this movie is it is called Raya and the Last Dragon, as opposed to being just called Raya, which isn't really interesting. But it is because Disney princess movies typically are just the name of a princess. The Princess and the Frog being one exception, Beauty and the Beast being another. It's not the only ones. I just find it interesting, okay? Yeah. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
This has been the Two Dudes Movie Podcast. We're going to watch Raya and let you know what we think once we have. But until then, we shall see you next time. Please leave a comment. Let us know if you're excited for Raya, if you're going to be subscribing to Disney Plus Premier Access. Leave a like, subscribe, and we shall see you next time.
See you soon.